told you we always been ready. I don't need people that's petty, that weigh on me heavy while I'm being steady. I need a record with Felly, we get it bouncing like Betty's, I feel like I'm Nelly. Don't bring the beef like a deli, it's leave on a levy, no sleeping on me like I'm Freddy. Chris Breeze, how I do, hit him with the moves. Left hand step back, ballin' like I'm Coos. All faith, God's plan, you just gotta choose. God slaps, nothing left to prove. Y'all gotta leave me alone. Lately I've been in my zone. Told them no cap like I fitted, but lately the flows have been straight off the dome. I feel like I'm MVP, like my name Patty Mahomes. If it ain't about money, don't hit on my phone, cause lately I've been in my zone.
Hello, welcome to the Cowboy Show, hosted by Ben Carey and Nick Gronerad, combining expert human opinions with cutting-edge simulation models to help you arrive at the best picks each week. Inside Edge Community. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everyone, and welcome to today's stream. I am so excited. It finally happened. We finally have the one and only Dilberto on the stream. Dilberto, how are you doing this morning?
Good. I'm doing well. Had a good day in basketball yesterday. We'll see if we can keep it up today. I really like the slate today. There's a lot of good spots, so
yeah,
we shall see.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting slate. I think having you on the stream has been kind of 2 months in the works. It feels like there was mutual interest, like right when we started having other people on. But your work schedule has been busy, and then last week it was finally like, okay, I'm gonna put this on the schedule, like a week in advance. Nobody can schedule meetings here. I'm gonna be on the stream, so we appreciate that.
Exactly.
So excited to have you on. I
had to block off the schedule. Yeah, for sure. It gets chaotic with work sometimes.
So I'm sure that a lot of people here are familiar with you. We've seen you on the surgical streams and on Twitter and whatnot. But for anybody who might not know who you are, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Well, where to start? So I currently live in Boise, Idaho, the land of the Boise Broncos, and you'll notice that I bet on them quite a bit. Yesterday they ruined quite a few things for a lot of people that were tailing that play, but we ended up winning the Mountain West Conference yesterday, or regular season conference, so that was good. But I'm originally from San Diego. Huge sports guy. My favorite sport is probably baseball or football, but over the last 2 years, definitely gotten into the college basketball world. But that's pretty much me. I work from home, so that's why you see me always on Twitter and always interacting during the day, because I have all the screens in front of me and all the time in the world to interact. So, yeah,
sounds good. Happy to have you here. So what's up, everybody in the chat? We have to mention that Dilberto cannot see the Twitch chat. We discovered about 2 minutes before the stream started. It was like, oh, we have to use Discord. And both Discord and Twitch are blocked on Dilberto's work computer. So he is using his phone right now for camera and mic. Took a couple extra minutes to get that set up. And because he's on his computer or on his phone with the Discord call, he cannot read chat. So somebody asked, Dilly, can I get a yo?
Yo, what's good?
There it is. There you go. West by God.
I got you.
Well, hope everyone in the chat is having a good morning as well. Hope you're as bricked up for today's slate as we are. So for anybody who is new to the stream, here is how it works. So we have 5 categories of games that we have for today. You can see the categories listed on the lower left-hand side of the screen. For each of the first 4 categories, we have picked a game that fits that category. It's not necessarily our favorite picks of the day. It's 4 games that are interesting for 4 different reasons. For each of these games, I'm going to give my lean. Dilberto will give his lean, and you, as the chat, will have the opportunity to vote in a poll on your lean for the game as well. These leans will all be put up on the screen. The last category, the 5th category, is our actual top plays of the day. This is where the money's at. So I will have my top play. Dilberto will have his top play. And chat, you guys, once again, will be able to vote on your favorite play. So a couple comments. I see we got Chelly in the chat. What's up, Chelly? Tom asked, when is Scrunch joining the stream? Scrunch can join the stream whenever he wants. I have no idea what Scrunch looks like, which is kind of funny. I know what a lot of people in the Capwise community look like, but I don't know what Larry looks like. So we can have Larry on stream whenever he wants. Tom, you can also come on stream. Love to have you on. So, with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and hop into category number 1.
Public intoxication.
Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype.
So category number 1 is public intoxication. This is where we take a look at one of the biggest public plays for the day and see if we are going to side with the public or see if we are going to side with not the public. Whatever the opposite of the public is. It's not necessarily the sharps, but whatever that is. So the game that we're talking about today is the game between Auburn and Mississippi State, which is this is an interesting game. So Auburn is on the road at Mississippi State, only favored by 3.5 points, but we know that they've had a lot of struggles on the road this season. It's kind of been a running thing, just betting against Auburn when they're on the road. So I think that more than 90% of the bets, despite all of this, are on Auburn. Dilberto, are you part of the 90% on Auburn? Or are you going to take the Bulldogs here?
I hate to say this, but I'm a part of the 90% tonight. I think this is a really good spot for Auburn. I think without having the past few losses versus Tennessee and Florida, I think this line could have easily been at 7 or 8. But because of these losses over the past few weeks, I think it drove the line down. I hate to say this, but this almost seems like a buy low spot for Auburn, even though they're a really good team. And I hate that so much of the public is on Auburn, but I think this is one of those games where the public might actually win. Might actually win this one. But do you want me to keep going into why I kind of like Auburn?
You can say as much or as little as you would like.
Okay. Well, one of the main reasons why I like Auburn is not because of their offense, but because of the defense side of the ball today. Mississippi State is a huge team that loves driving the ball into the paint and scoring via the layup or short shots, and Auburn is really, really good inside the paint. And I think the only reason why they lost to Tennessee is because they gave up those perimeter jump shots to Tennessee. And I think that in order for Mississippi State to win or even to cover, they're going to need to convert those outside shots, which they are not really that good at. Walker Kessler is so huge inside, and I think he's going to have a huge game blocking those short shots today. So.
Yeah, I could not agree more with everything that you said. I like Auburn in this spot for all of the same reasons. I think that this is a good. I mean, you basically like hacked into my research and just took all my points.
I'm sorry to steal your thunder.
Yeah, no, but that's good. I like it. I like it that we're so aligned, not only on the pick itself, but also for the reasoning. Mississippi State is a team that really struggles from outside. They shoot 30.2% from 3 on the year. I mean, a lot of their guards that play a lot of minutes are really, really bad 3-point shooters. And what does that do? I mean, like you said, it either forces them to convert from those shots, which, I mean, it might happen. Any team can get lucky. I mean, we saw IUPUI shoot 9 to 15 from 3 yesterday.
Yeah, unreal.
But it's not really something that you should count on. And what that does is it gives the size advantage that Auburn has inside, both the ability to play good defense against drives into the paint, and it also, Auburn definitely has the rebounding advantage. And if Mississippi State is going to be missing a lot of threes, I mean, Auburn is going to be the team collecting a lot of those rebounds. I don't think that we see a lot of second chance points from Mississippi State here either. So then the question is just, can Auburn convert on the offensive end? I think that's going to be the big dilemma for Auburn here. So in these games that they've been playing on the road, I mean, they've been struggling on the offensive end. It hasn't so much been the defense, it's been the offense. I mean, they put up 62 against Tennessee. They put up 62 against Florida. They put up 76 in that loss against Arkansas, but Arkansas plays at a much, much, much higher tempo than Mississippi State does. So,
Very true.
So that's the question. So I think that if you like Auburn to have some consistency on offense, I think that Auburn minus 3.5 is the play, and that's the play I'm going to lock in for myself here. I also think that the under could be an interesting look if you like Auburn on the defensive end and are a little bit iffy about how they're going to perform on offense. But since we're talking about the public play, which is the spread, I'll take Auburn minus 3.5. And the chat agrees. 31 votes on Auburn compared to only 7 on Mississippi State.
Yeah, this one scares me because every single person I know is on Auburn, and Mississippi State does play really well at home. But I think Auburn is the more consistent team, and I mean, not as of recent, which is why I think they bounced back tonight. And they're also really good at scoring off of turnovers. So I think that if they're able to cause a lot of turnovers, which their defense can do, I think that they could, and this could end up being a blowout in the end.
Yeah, and I think one last thing that I want to add on is that this is Auburn's last road game of the season. I mean, I almost think that it's a spot for them to prove to themselves that they can put on a good performance outside of Auburn. Because, I mean, in the SEC tournament, that's what it's going to be. And in March Madness, that's what it's going to be. They've got to show that they can put it together. And this is kind of the last chance to do so. I think Auburn is taking this game quite seriously. And Drageth Thy Nuts, thank you for the gifted sub. Appreciate that very much. And yeah, like Larry just said, very disappointed in Mississippi State this season. This is a team that I was high on. I know in our preseason preview, this is a team that Chase was really high on, and I completely agreed with him. But they've definitely been a little bit underwhelming, and I think a lot of it does have to do with the perimeter offense or lack thereof.
Mm-hmm. You said you like the under on this one. You lean under.
I would lean under. I think if your concern with Auburn is them putting up points on the road, then the under has to be the play.
Yeah. The one thing that worries me, because I lean the under as well, but I don't think I'm going to be touching the total on this one, is that they're both really good at getting to the free throw line. And I think that if the game is somewhat close at the end, I think there's going to be a lot of bonus free throws. Yeah,
that's very true.
So, but just one aspect to think about.
Mm-hmm. Could be a spot to look at live.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of people asking about Wyoming and UNLV. And
Anyone?
how? Yeah, funny that everybody's asking about that right now. So Dilberto is the Mountain West expert. He literally lives in Boise. He's the resident expert of the Mountain West. So we can't have Dilberto on for the first time and not talk about today's big Mountain West game. And that's exactly what we're going to do in category number 2.
Mid-major spotlight.
Millions on the table, that's major. I turn dirt into diamonds, that's major.
So category number 2, mid-major spotlight, where we're going to take a look at a couple mid-major teams that we might be seeing in March. I think for sure one of these teams, Wyoming, we're going to see in March. No questions asked at this point. I think that they could probably lose out and still make the big dance. As far as UNLV is concerned, this is a team that is on the upswing. They're kind of getting hot at the right time. Definitely need to win the Mountain West Conference tournament to make March Madness, but I don't think that this is a team that anybody really wants to play at this point. And I think that that's evidenced in this line. So UNLV at home against Wyoming is a 1.5 point favorite in this game. Over-under is sitting at 139.5. So Dilberto, what do you make of the line that we're seeing in this game and of this matchup as a whole?
I honestly have been going back and forth on this game all day, or all morning, I should say. It's still 11 o'clock here, but This one is very tough because it gives me similar vibes to the Wyoming-San Diego State game, where San Diego State was favored and everyone and their mom was on Wyoming. I did take San Diego State in that game, but I think San Diego State is a much better team defensively than UNLV is.
Oh, yeah.
But the one thing, so like right, like I wrote down I'm going to take Wyoming plus 1.5. But like just thinking about this game, I probably can't touch this game because Bryce Hamilton, I think he's the best scorer in the Mountain West. He has been balling so well lately. He averages like 22 points per game. He's the third best three-point shooter in the conference. And I think if we see a similar game to what we saw in the San Diego State game where UNLV can drain from three, I think UNLV will win and cover. But I also see Wyoming bouncing back after that horrible three-point defense performance and shutting down UNLV because UNLV loves shooting from deep. So this is a very hard one to cap and understand what's going to happen. But the reason why I'm taking Wyoming, and this is like almost not really conspiracy theory, but like I try to think in the shoes of like what Vegas is thinking on some of these lines. And I think that they're banking on the fact of the recency bias with the San Diego State game and having that line where San Diego State was favored by 2. And I think people are going to think back to that game and think, oh, everyone is on Wyoming and San Diego State covered. And I think they're going to get a little bit of a flip of the percentage of bets onto UNLV because it's a similar line. But I think Wyoming pulls it out this time and covers.
Yeah, I think I'm with you again here. I think that I like Wyoming. But I agree even more so with Marty the Locksmith in chat, who said so much more value on the board. This is a great stay-away game.
Yes.
This is going to be a good game, but a very sketchy game as far as actually placing bets is concerned. So this Wyoming team has struggled a little bit on the road.
Yes.
In conference play this season. So their last few road games, they lost at Colorado State by 6. It was a really close game. They did cover in that game, but ultimately they did lose. They lost at New Mexico in their road game before that. Again, that was an extremely close game, but Wyoming was favored there and they lost. New Mexico, by the way, shot 47% from 3 in that game. They knocked off San Jose State. They knocked off a very good Fresno team on the road, and then they lost to Boise, your Broncos, on the road. And again, that was a game that they were an underdog but covered. So I'm expecting a close game in this, regardless of who wins. So I think it's just going to kind of come down to rebounding and free throw shooting, and I think that Wyoming has the edge in those spots. So I'm gonna take the Cowboys here as well.
I like that play. Yeah, I think Wyoming's the right play. UNLV is scary though. Like when Boise played them last week, I was so worried we were gonna lose. Like that was the letdown game that I thought was gonna happen, but we pulled it out luckily. But I do lean Wyoming in this one. I don't think there's any way that they lose 2 in a row. But that's what I got.
Yeah. So somebody asked about Auburn spread. We had just finished up talking about that. Dilberto and I and the chat were all on Auburn. In this one, chat agrees with us. So Wyoming plus 1.5 is the consensus play. In fact, by a mile, even more so than Auburn. Between
really?
Wyoming and the over and Wyoming and the under, there were 29 votes on Wyoming to cover versus only 3 on UNLV to cover. So the chat definitely likes Wyoming in this spot. Does that make you nervous at all?
Yes, it does. I don't know. I don't think I can touch this game, but I just don't see Wyoming falling apart at the end of the year before the conference tournament, because I don't think there's any way that I just don't see them falling apart. I don't know. I see them winning, and I think I could see them winning by 5+, maybe even double digits if they have a good game.
Yeah, I think as long as they're up going into the last 5 minutes, I don't think that they're going to blow the lead.
Yeah,
I think just keeping it close, keeping a little edge down the stretch, is what it takes for Wyoming here. And West by God, who had just got gifted a sub, has passed the generosity forward and gifted a sub to Non-Basic Gamer. Appreciate that very much, West by God. All right. Oh, and Ben just said Graham Ike in the paint is going to be the difference.
I think so. I mean, UNLV does have some height, but
yeah, they definitely do have size.
Ike is levels above anyone else.
He's
the only other person that could probably go with him is Robinson and Fresno State, but
yeah, Ike's insane. So let's now go ahead and move along to category number 3.
Payback game.
Back to back like I'm Jordan 96, 97. Whoa.
Robbed you in your city and you told. Tory from the 6, you hating on him, Lord knows.
I'm out here looking for revenge.
So the revenge game today is coming to you from the Big 12. We have the Iowa State Cyclones and the Oklahoma State Cowboys running it back after an extremely close meeting in the first game that these two teams played. First game between these teams was in Stillwater at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State was a 3-point favorite in that game, but lost in overtime. So now they have their opportunity to go into Iowa and get their revenge. So in this new game, Iowa State now, as the home team, is a 4-point favorite. So it's a 7-point swing from game 1 to game 2. Over under sitting at 129. So Dilberto, do you think that Oklahoma State gets their revenge, at least against the spread? Or do you think that Iowa State makes it 2 for 2?
This was a tough one, but I think Iowa State makes it 2 for 2. Just looking at the last game, I mean, it did go into overtime, but Iowa State shot pretty lights out, over 50% from the field, which I don't think they could. I mean, they could do it again, but maybe a little bit of regression there. But the biggest point of regression that I see that makes me lean Iowa State is that Anderson on Oklahoma State scored, 30?
Yeah, he had 34 points.
34 points, yeah, and he usually averages like 12, I believe, on the year or on the season. And I see the biggest point of regression happening there. I do think it's a close game, but I think that they could cover the 4 with just free throws at the end of the game. I do think Iowa State's the better offensive team, and I think that Iowa State does pull it out. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually disagree with you on this one. So for the first time, we have opposed each other. It's okay. It happens all the time. We actually had we had not this week, but the week before, we had data on, and all 4 games our models disagreed on. So we were against each other on all 4 games, which was kind of funny. I don't like that, but it's also nice, like, not be on the same side every time.
Yeah,
good for the content, good for the discussion. So the reason why I like Oklahoma State here is I think it's more picking against Iowa State than it is picking on Oklahoma State. I think that this Iowa State team, they love to foul. Oklahoma State as a team isn't a great free throw shooting team. But that's because they have a couple guys who really, really, really drag that number down. A lot of their starting guards and reserve guards are like 75% or better free throw shooters. So I think that this Oklahoma State team is going to be aggressive in trying to draw fouls. and they're not going to have a lot of empty possessions. This Iowa State team, I've watched them play a couple times. I just haven't been impressed. It's been a little bit of a weird team. They started out 13-0 or something, or 11-0. I forget what the exact number was. And then they lost a ton of games, and now suddenly they've won 4 in a row. A lot of close wins though. So I think that at 4 points, it's too many. I actually kind of think Oklahoma State could win this game outright. It wouldn't surprise me at all. But I don't have a lot of confidence in Iowa State to push this out past that. That's me personally.
Logical.
Yeah, model has Oklahoma State actually winning this game by a point. So taking a look at the poll from the chat, they are with you on this one. Do you like that? Do you like the chat? Is that reassuring to you that the chat is on your side, or is it ooh?
Well, I usually like going against the public view of who. Not all the time. There's some spots like Auburn today where the public's on it, but I just don't see that. I just don't see them not covering. So it really depends on the game. If it's an iffy game and I'm on one side and the public's on my side, then I'm usually a little sketched out. But when I feel 1,000,000% confident and the public's on my side, then I'm okay with it. But, you never really know in college basketball. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so some good comments in the chat. So the Cowboys turn the ball over. Yeah, so Iowa State does run pretty heavy pressure on defense. I mean, that's why they foul so much, is because that's just a natural consequence of pressing like that. In the first meeting between these two teams, the turnover battle was pretty even. I do think that that's a route for Iowa State to have success, is if they can win their turnover battle. I mean, just more possessions is more opportunities to put the ball in the basket, more opportunities to grow the lead. So that is definitely something to watch out for if you're on Iowa State here. If they can force turnovers, that's big for them. Also, I saw Tom in the chat just said, Nick just takes whatever I take. No, Tom, you just take whatever the model has. So, I think you and Larry had that same argument. But yeah, so let me get all of these leans up. So I'm on Oklahoma State +4, and chat is with Iowa State.
What was the total in this game?
Total in this game is sitting at... Hold on, 1 second.
Add it up.
Pulling up the unabated dashboard so you can see what it's
at. 128.5, I think. Or 129.
Yeah, it's as low as 128.5 on BetMGM. It's 129 in some spots like DraftKings. FanDuel has 129.5.
So I was going to say I lean under on this game as well, but it looks like a lot of the public is on the under as well.
Yeah, and the thing, I would probably lean the under as well. Although I've stopped betting Iowa State unders because they foul so much. And it just leads to free throws. And the totals are so low because if they're not fouling, games fly under. But if they are fouling, or if the other team is drawing fouls, you'll see 50 free throws in a game. And if you're betting on a total of 130, then that's rough.
Yeah, well, because I was going to say they're both top 20 in defensive efficiency, and both top 30 in field goal attempts allowed, and it's just it should be under, but with the fouls and it being a conference game close at the end of the game, yeah, they could definitely fly over at the end.
Yeah, apparently B. Donahue in chat says G Unit play of the day is the over for the exact reason of late game fouling.
Wow.
So that is interesting.
Good thing I'm not touching that.
Yeah, the total in this game is definitely something I want to stay away from. I had an under in Iowa State, West Virginia as my pick of the day a couple weeks ago. And the tempo was great. Both teams were shooting terribly. And the over was 130. And I think that that's a but it finished over by like 15 or 20 points because each team shot 30 free throws.
Yeah, that's never fun. Or when it seems like the refs are on the over as well and they call a foul and everything.
Well, I mean, no, there was a lot of legitimate fouls in that game. And then like there's like several technicals also. Just like players being idiots, hanging on the rim, throwing the ball, talking shit.
Those conference games get crazy. This one, especially being a huge revenge spot, this one could be pretty intense. So.
Yeah. All right, so let's now go ahead and move along into category number 4.
Game of the day.
The ball is tipped, and there you are. You're running for your life. You're a shooting star.
So category number 4 is the game of the day. We are featuring a second SEC game today. That is the game between LSU and Arkansas. So Arkansas is at home in this one, favored by 5.5 points, over under set at 142.5. I saw a lot of people in chat asking about this, and especially since that we had already talked about Auburn. This was the pretty obvious candidate for the game of the day. So Dilberto, start us off. What are your thoughts here?
My thoughts on this game is that this is the ultimate sell high spot for Arkansas and buy low spot for LSU. I think Arkansas might be the hottest team in the nation right now. I think they've covered 11 of their last like 12 or 13 or something. I could be wrong. But I am going to take LSU with the points because of of what I just mentioned with the ultimate sell high spot for Arkansas. I think that with LSU playing some of their worst basketball of the season on the road and Arkansas playing their best basketball at home, I think that this is going to be an ultimate bounce back spot for LSU. They've only won 5 of their last 13 games. And I think that they could be a dark horse in the tournament, to be honest. They haven't been playing well recently, but I think that they can easily come back and be the team that we saw earlier in the season. But these are both 2 really, really good defensive teams. But I think LSU does have the advantage on defense. But I'm going to take LSU with the points, which I think it's 5.5 right now, right? 5.5 or 6.
Yeah, I think it's sitting at 5.5. You can probably find anywhere from 5 to 6, depending on the book. No, I'm not saying any 5s. 5.5 pretty much everywhere. DraftKings actually has us at 6. DraftKings and Pinnacle has us actually at, a weighted 6.5. It's like minus 6.5 plus 105, which is like the same thing.
Yeah, I'm taking LSU. I think that they actually win the rebounding battle today. Even though Arkansas has some pretty big guys, some height down there, but I think LSU is going to cover, and I honestly can see them potentially winning today, to be honest.
Yeah. For the 3rd time in 4 games, I agree with you on this one, Dilberto. I'm taking LSU here. So I think that this LSU team is a little bit underrated at this point, as far as their perception is concerned. So this is a team that started out the season red hot, found their way into the top 10 in the country, and then they had a ton of injuries. There was players who were like actually injured and missing games. There was players who were playing injured. They've started to come back. I don't think that they have anybody out at this point. And I think that the players who are in are getting healthier and healthier and healthier. I already tried once this season to say that this is the game for Arkansas or for LSU to really be in this is where you buy low on LSU. That was the game against South Carolina, and I had to eat my words on that one. That being said, this LSU team, I think that they are playing reasonably well, despite the fact that they've lost 8 of their last 13 games. They just knocked off Missouri by 20 points in their last game. That was a cover. They lost at Kentucky, but they did cover the spread in that game. There was a South Carolina game where they did lose on the road by 2 points. But there was one dude on South Carolina who was just absolutely unconscious. Guy who averaged less than 10 points a game. But put up 33. So I think that with a little bit of luck, this LSU team could win outright. And I think that 5.5 with the points is just too many points. So give me LSU here. Model has it Arkansas winning, LSU covering. And I think that that's kind of where I lean as well.
Yeah, I like the spot today for the Tigers.
Mm-hmm. As far as the total is concerned, Model has this at 142.7, which is like 0.2 points off of the actual total.
It's at 143?
Either 140, it's at 142.5. So, I mean, like, which side the model leans depends on if you're getting a 142.5 or a 143.
I hate to hear that.
Yeah. It is what it is. Let's take a look and see what the chat says in this game. Chat is all over the place for the first time.
Love to hear.
Mm-hmm. So the top two vote-getting options were Arkansas to cover and the over, and then LSU to cover and the under. So overall, Arkansas to cover got 23 votes. LSU to cover got 14 votes. The over has 21 votes, and the under has 16 votes. So the thing with the most votes is Arkansas at 23 votes. So that is what I'm going to throw up as the lean for chat. And chat has faded us here. So there you go. You finally got what you wanted.
I love being faded.
Mm-hmm. Chat voted with
gives
you.
Me a little bit more confident.
3 out of 3 to start. And they are on the other side here.
I don't know how I feel about that.
You have to hope that chat is like a little bit right and a little bit wrong.
Yeah. But leans my way and everything, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They're wrong about the ones I'm right about, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
We have to go undefeated today, Nick.
Yeah, all that matters is you being right. Doesn't matter what anybody else is on. Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. As long
that makes you sound like a dick.
Yeah, as long as you're right, then you're good. Yeah, I mean, you can like say that in a nice way.
Yeah.
Kind of. Be like, I hope that you win every single pick that we agree on.
Yeah, that would work. I mean, some of these games are so, like, flip a coin. And, I mean, sometimes you get set on one side, like, when you're looking into the stats and, like, the story of the game. You kind of catch yourself looking at stats and you're like, wait, that could definitely make me lean towards the other side. And then it's always back and forth until you find, like, which stats probably mean more in this game. But, you know, you never know with some of these conference games.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of emotions, a lot of things to play for, and a lot of inconsistency issues in college. So let's go ahead now and move along to the last category, which is our plays of the day. So chat, in order to make a poll for your favorite plays today, I need to know what you are on. So if your favorite play today is a spread, let me know the team that you're on. Let me know the number that the spread is at, and post that in the chat. If you're on a money line, give me the team that you're on and the price of the money line. And if you're on a total, give me the two teams that you are on and the actual total in the game. I'm going to give everybody a couple minutes or a couple seconds, type out their picks. And here is the quick video clip.
Big brain plays.
Come on. Think. Brain blast!
All right. So let's see what we've got in the chat. I'm looking for anything that pops up twice. I see Ollie and Austin both on George Washington. We'll call that a -6.5. I think Indiana's going to be a popular one. Indiana -5. Notre Dame -2. That's a sketch game. That is such a sketchy game.
Fully agree.
See Middle Tennessee State. And we'll go seen this New Orleans game pop up a couple times. We'll go with New Orleans -8.5. Somebody, I think it was in our Discord, did a nice write-up on that game for the spread. So there's the poll. Yeah, Jay Smitty, give us your winner. Dilberto.
Yes.
Enough of these sketchy, hard-to-pick games that I force you to talk about. What is your actual favorite play today?
Well, it's funny you say that because one of my favorite plays is a game we talked about earlier, but it's not a side, it's a total. So, I'm taking the LSU Arkansas under today.
You were allowed to give that as your top pick in that game.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that because we were doing best bets. I should have mentioned it, but I kind of hinted at it when we were talking about it. But I really like the under in this game. I think both defenses are top 15 in the nation. And I think that they're going to hold the advantage on both sides of the court, both defenses. They do run both teams run a fairly up-tempo pace of play on offense. But I believe that this is going to be largely focused on defense today. And it being a conference game, I mean, I know there could come down to the wire with free throws at the end of the game. But I think that this total is super high because earlier in the year, everyone was hammering LSU unders. That was the thing, LSU unders. And I think we've gotten away from that for the past few games because they haven't been playing well. But I think in order for them to cover, which I believe they will, I think that they're going to have to step up largely on defense. Mostly focus on that because Arkansas can score, as we know. So I lean the under in this game. 142.5, I believe it's at right now.
Yeah, I think that's what I had up on the screen. You can get it at 142.5 in most spots. FanDuel is hanging a 143.
Good to know. And I know that majority of the bets are on the over, I believe, when I looked earlier. And the line has gone up a little bit, but I still like this under. I'll probably wait a little bit later in the day to see what it ends at, closer to tee off. Tip. I almost said tee off like we're playing golf. Closer to tip. Because I do think this is a good spot. And I do think I'm going to take the under. And it's probably going to be one of my plays today. So.
All right.
But I'm debating taking the first half under, to be honest.
Yeah, so I'm gonna interrogate you real quick. So I know that you like a lot of first half plays. Yes. So what is it that you look for in a game that would make you take a first half total or side as opposed to a full game total or side?
So a few things I look at is if I'm looking at totals, if I'm leaning under, a lot of the times I'll try to go first half under because of the fact that the bonus period at the end of the game, if it's a conference game, if it's going to be close down the wire, then we see a lot of those garbage time points with fouls. Well, not garbage time points, but fouls towards the end of the game. And one thing we see is that if a game is within 1 to 4 points at the end of the game, teams often don't foul. But if it's like a 5 to 7 point game at the end of the game, we'll see a million fouls.
Yeah, it's like that sweet spot.
Yeah, exactly. There's that sweet spot that you have to kind of picture how you think the game's going to go, and that's one thing I try to do is try to figure out how close the game's going to be towards the end. Which, I mean, it's impossible because if you're that good, you'd be a millionaire. But that's one thing I like to do. If I like it as an under game, I'll try to see if the under first half is a good spot because of the fact of what is stated with those points at the end of the game. But if I am leaning over, I try to take the full game because of the fact that you can get those extra points at the end. Mm-hmm. But then for like a team, if I'm taking a team first half, one of the things I love looking at is first half margins because there's a lot of teams that come out super hot and then kind of fade out in the second half. One example of this, which actually screwed me a few days ago, is Iowa. Iowa's a really, really good first half team, and they usually come out pretty hot. I think their margin is like +9 around there in the first half. And if they're playing a team that usually starts pretty slow, I love taking that first half line because of the fact that they usually start hot, blow out their opponents in the first half, and they kind of fizzle out and let their opponents back into the game in the second half. But those are some of the things I look at, just kind of like how teams normally start, or if I'm taking the spread, and then for totals, as I mentioned, with if it's a conference game, if I'm taking the under, I try to take the first half, but that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, I like it. So I think a lot of people that I see who give out first half plays, first quarter plays, whatever, just the reasoning is, it's less points, right? Like, let me take this team -5 first half instead of -9 full game. And I want to go like, when I hear people say that, because on a per minute basis, it's more points. It's not less points, it's more points.
No, exactly, yeah. Yeah.
So there has to be some kind of other underlying reason beyond just, it's less points to take the first half. So it's good. I know I think we already went over this once in Discord, but I wanted you to say it to the people in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Why,
Definitely.
when it is and isn't kind of a good spot to take first half plays as opposed to full game plays.
Yeah, that's my logic behind it. And if anyone has any questions, they can DM me. I'm happy to chat about it.
So chat poll results are in. It was an extremely tight race for top play of the day. The winner was Middle Tennessee State -2, who got 12 votes. Runner-up, Indiana -5, 11 votes. Third place,
close.
Notre Dame -2.5, 10 votes. We've had like 2 that are that close. I don't think we've ever had 3 that are all that close. But that's where we're at. We've got Middle Tennessee State -2 as Chat's play of the day. I think that they were Chat's play of the day not too long ago. Cornbread Red, thank you for the sub. And Ben, thanks for gifting a sub to Ace. So now I have to say my favorite play of the day.
We haven't heard yours yet.
Yeah, this is actually one that somebody in chat was spamming quite a bit. And I saw it, and I got a little smile on my face. I think it was Marty, the locksmith. Let me go double check.
Wait, can I guess?
Yeah.
Is it that New Orleans game you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, it's that New Orleans game, but I don't like the spread. I like the total. I have the over 151.5 in the game between Houston Baptist and New Orleans. So both of these teams play at an extremely fast pace. New Orleans is 11th in the country in tempo, according to KenPom. Houston Baptist is 82nd, which isn't like crazy fast, but it's still fast. Like Marty said, New Orleans has scored 70 in every conference game that they've played this season. They need to score more than 70 as the favorite in order for this to go over, if they're going to win. But this is just both of these teams that they go to the free throw line a ton. Baptist doesn't play any defense. New Orleans is a decent defensive team, but they foul a ton and they give up a lot of threes. Houston Baptist fouls a ton. I tried to get cheeky the last time that New Orleans played and I took a New Orleans team total over instead of the game over. What happened was they missed a ton of free throws, and their team total over missed by 2.5 points, but the game flew over. So I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm going to take just the full game over here. 151.5 in New Orleans and Houston Baptist. Tom, yeah. Model gets bricked up for New Orleans. That it does. Ben said, I'm convinced that this is Nick's burner. That's Ben, that's Tom. Tom has been like in the Capwives community since before I was in the Capwives community. Tom's been around forever.
I like New Orleans as a team. I was watching them quite a bit earlier in the year. Hilaire, I don't know how to say his last name. He is such a baller. I think he's very, like, because he's in the Southland, so you don't hear often about those players in that conference. But he is a baller. He backpacks that squad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he's excellent. He gets out of control sometimes. He kind of tossed the over by getting too reckless and turning the ball over a ton against Northwestern State in that last game.
Mm-hmm.
But he's really good. As long as he plays at like 95% speed so he can control himself, he's like a ridiculously good athlete. He's noticeably quicker than everybody else on the court.
Well, I feel like he just drives on anyone. Like there'll be guys that are like twice as tall as him. He'll just drive and like try to dunk over them, and it's like he has no switch. He just 100% all the time, which I love about him. But he does a lot of these shots where he drives in and then kind of just like tries to throw the ball off the glass, and he ends up missing a lot. But,
he just needs to be drawing fouls in those situations. Get to the line, that kind of thing. But yeah, I think he's a very interesting player. I'm actually kind of curious to see if he'll latch on, like in the G League or something, because he's not got NBA skills, but his athleticism is off the charts.
Yeah,
he is 100% an NBA quality athlete.
He reminds me of one of those guys in like when you're playing like recreational basketball, like in a league. He's probably one of those kids that scored like 45 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're just unreal.
Yeah, I agree. Somebody keeps asking about St. Louis. I barely lean St. Louis. I really like the St. Louis team. They kind of sketch me out on the road sometimes, but I do like St. Louis over Rhode Island. I think some other people were saying URI. Somebody asked, do I like the 8.5 for New Orleans in this game? I think I would lean New Orleans minus 8.5, but would much rather take the total.
I do like New Orleans with 8.5. I think Houston Baptist is honestly one of the worst teams in the nation.
Oh yeah, they're really bad. They're terrible.
I mean, they don't really have much competition in that conference, but I think New Orleans is definitely like much better than the bottom of that conference. So.
Yeah, the Southland is weird, especially with the other top teams gone. Like Stephen F. Austin, Sam Houston State, Abilene Christian all left the conference after last year. I think one of the other top teams also. So it's like a kind of void at the top.
I honestly didn't even know that until you just said that.
Yeah, they've all moved on. They're in the WAC this year.
That makes sense.
But it's kind of just Nichols and New Orleans, and Corpus Christi's been good too. And then it's just like a giant gap between them and everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like what they also do. Like earlier in the season, they do a Southland Conference like tournament.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
That's like super exciting to watch because all the games start at like 11 a.m. So it's something to do while you're trying to get work done.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's an interesting conference. I enjoy it. It's got its own kind of unique style. Just very balls to the wall, running up and down the court, trying crazy shit.
Yeah, like earlier in the year, I know we've talked about this forever. Earlier in the year, I had an over with New Orleans, and I think they were playing Nichols or someone else, and we needed 45 points in the last like 12 minutes, or no, last 8 minutes, and the over hit.
Yeah, I think I was on that same game. I remember that.
I was like at the bar, and I looked at my phone. I was like, "Wait, how the hell did this hit?"
Yeah, no, Southland Conference is fun, and then at the same time, like you'll have Northwestern State go ice cold and like not score for
Yeah.
the last 5 minutes of the game and throw your under by half a point because of that. Speaking from personal experience.
Personal experiences, basically.
So I think that we are going to go ahead and wrap up the stream now. The Book It stream is on. Apparently Trent's on Wyoming.
Nice.
Is it time to cash out?
No, I was on Arizona with Trent yesterday, and that smacked. So.
Yeah, no. Trent's picks have been kind of low key, pretty good.
People don't give him the credit he deserves.
Yeah, no.
I feel like he gets his Fade God rep because he does a lot of parlays.
Well, I mean, and
like,
he earned his Fade God rep, like hard, in the baseball season, but he's not Fade God.
Yeah, I can name a few other people that would probably be Fade Gods, but don't want to start that drama.
No, not on stream. We can start it off stream.
Yeah.
So Dilberto, thank you again for joining us here. It was a pleasure. Hope to have you back on at some point. Don't know what the work schedule looks like. We can figure that out. We're gonna go raid the Book It Sports channel. Again, thank you to everybody in the chat for tuning in. Thank you to everybody who dropped a follow and who subscribed. If you're not following, be sure to drop a follow on the channel. If you are not in our Discord, there is a link to it in the chat. Be sure to join up in that. It's a great place for discussion. It's polite and not hectic, unlike some other sports betting Discords. The Book It Discord is nice when you want craziness. The Capwise Discord is nice for more calm, reasoned discussion. So I will be back on stream tomorrow, same time, same place, 1 o'clock Eastern with Not a Mush. Excited for that. So be sure to put that on your schedule and tune in. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and raid the Book It channel. And we'll see y'all tomorrow. Good luck with the bets, everyone. Take care.